Welcome, everyone. It's episode 79 of The Mindful Marketer. It is December. Happy holidays to all who celebrate. It's 2024 planning season, and I'm excited about today's show. And we're going to be covering some very important topics to help you be more confident and conscious of what you're creating next year. It's a big question. As you all join us today, I'd love to know, how do you view marketing innovation differently for next year? As we define it, marketing innovation is applying creativity to improve our stakeholders' condition. So there are a lot of things swirling around that look like marketing innovations that you may be pursuing and some that you may be avoiding. So I'm really curious to hear in the chat how you're viewing it differently as you embark on the new year. We want to make sure through this program today that your go-to-market, your customer retention strategies ring true for all of your stakeholders, and that you don't rely on old innovation approaches. So today we have a couple of special guests fresh from the CMOs 7th cohort, the CMOs Leading Innovation Conference, and they're going to be sharing their perspectives as well. Now, you may be wondering, why does it matter? Well, because we need to know what our bosses and our board leaders expect from us in these new economic times. And through that, we can become better growth strategists and stewards of our company's agenda. So let's welcome two of our wonderful cohort members, Amy Kellinger from Charleston, South Carolina. She leads growth and revenue, events, content, and product marketing at the publicly traded company Blackbaud. She's also an esteemed member of our Marketing Growth Leaders private peer community and this year's Beacon Award recipient at Click. And we are also pleased that a return guest is Alex Withers. He's a seasoned member of our community and joined us at Click again this year. He has worked at great companies such as LexisNexis. He's a train marketer formerly with Pepsi, and a super golfer, from what we understand. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Lisa. I think I'm a super golf industry expert. I can't claim to be a super golfer.
What do they say? It's a journey, not a destination.
That's right.
Hey, and Amy, welcome. Great to see you again as well.
Thank you. Great to see you, Lisa. Great to see you again as well, Alex.
So we all got back from this great cohort in Nashville, Tennessee. You've both been to other CMOs Leading Innovation Conferences. What was different about this one for you, either of you?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. I think for me, it was more of a forward-looking innovation event. I think a lot of the time we talk about what have we all done, what are the trends in the market, and I think this was more of an inflection point around looking forward with such seismic shifts in AI and digital transformation. I just felt it was a more forward-looking, more progressive conversation than we've ever had. So I thought it was an excellent group.
Thank you. And Amy, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything, Alex said there. I'll also say that the size of the group was unique. A lot of times you go to these big events and you have all these CMOs or CROs, and it's hard to even have a voice in the room. It's hard to really connect with people. The size of Click was large enough that it allowed diversity, and we had a lot of different voices at the table, but small enough to still have those intimate one-to-one conversations. And then the agenda really supported that as well. A lot of time to talk about, like Alex said, some of the forward, challenges or opportunities we're facing, but then also small groups to really talk about what we're going to do to solve those problems.
What problem were you focused on either solving or an opportunity that you want to amplify next year that's rather edgy or innovative, Amy, at Blackbaud?
Yeah, the problem that I brought to Click this year that I was able to work through was combination around, some of the economic challenges that, organizations could be facing. And then also that really like strong eye for analytics. So one of the things that we discussed was that a lot of CMOs and revenue growth leaders are facing, a flat spend budget as they go into next year, but yet we have to grow revenue. So how are you going to grow revenue and how are you going to do more with less spend? So it was all around optimization, which of course then pulls in analytics and being able to really problem solve their data, but then also that innovation piece that Alex mentioned around how we can use AI to help us be smarter, more efficient marketers. So it was great to really problem solve around the concept of doing more with less budget.
Yes. And Alex, you're also advising some companies now, I believe, in the hospitality and sports business.
Right.
What economic trends are they facing that you need, where it's calling for you to be a more innovative marketing leader?
Yeah, I think there's more pressure now. And I talk a lot with my clients around commercially viable innovation. And so the idea of, having a core program and then doing some fun stuff on the side that you call innovation is not going to work anymore. And I think more and more now it's in-year revenue. The desire for people to look 2 to 3 years out and be patient. The complete upheaval driven by the pandemic really kind of got rid of that. I know at Click we talked about this departure from LTV being the key barometer reading and it moving more towards net present value. For my clients is how do you drive in-year revenue? You can't just sit, wait, build an innovation platform and just say it's going to go live in 2025. And so, the old analogy of, building the plane while it's in the air, I don't think is ever, rung more true. And so that's what I'm talking to folks about is rather than some long-term waterfall approach to innovation, it's how do we drive innovation in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and how do we drive revenue in year?
Help us unpack how you're now distinguishing between lifetime customer value and net present value, because one of our wonderful faculty members who's on now 5 for-profit boards of directors says that there are some shifts there, Eric McCarthy. Mm-hmm. So help us and explain to us, Alex, what you're seeing shifting there.
Well, I think it's this whole idea of in year and what have you done for me lately? Working in the SaaS world for a while, whether that be in technology-driven sports initiatives or legal technology, you would look at LTVs of 5-6 years and go, we've got such great customer success. Our net churn's manageable. Our gross churn is manageable. Look at us. We've got a 6.5-year lifetime value of the customer. And that was a huge part of the valuation of the organization. But now I think it's more, we can't count on that anymore. We can't count on what's going to happen in 6 years. And so it's more about what is the next 12 months to 24 months of revenue look like? How healthy is that runway? And then how can we use that to drive the next 24 to 48 months? And so it's all about now, the power of now, I think, in terms of revenue generation.
And it puts some additional stress on how we live and how we lead our teams. The last thing we want to do is also reward people for daily results or quarter. There's that tension between constantly having breadcrumbs of success and also playing the long game and being, as my friend Dory Clark says in her book, The Long Game, strategically patient, that certain seeds need 1 to 3 years to even germinate. How do you both live in that world of duality?
Yeah, at Blackbot, I'll say, we really do have that strong eye for analytics, and I agree with everything that Alex just said in terms of it's not what are you going to do for me, it's what have you done for me, what ROI can you show from the X amount of dollars you just spent on marketing. So we get really tight about our KPIs, and we set all of those key performance indicators based on quarterly objectives. So for us, it's a really quarterly a metric that we're tracking towards, Lisa. And, we're starting now. We started actually in October, right? We know our sales cycle. We know how long it takes us to build pipeline. And if I don't have my Q1 pipeline now, there's not a lot I can do about it. So you start early, you plan, and just like Alex said, it's no longer a year stops, it continues to go. And in Q4 of this year, we needed to have our Q1 pipeline and KPIs ready for our sellers to hit their numbers.
And boy, that takes a whole new set of leadership behaviors, doesn't it? In the cohort, we talked about this in our breakout sessions, and it also introduced a new twist as each of you was literally building your innovation songbook, because we had worksheets that everyone used in the breakouts to look at how you are going to work on one business problem with this model. And one of the things that really came out, especially when Eric was talking about what's on the mind of board leaders for their marketing leaders, is that, I'm going to quote him here. He said, collaborative, not command and control CEOs who set a high bar of excellence are best positioned to succeed. And right now, it's all around defining and practicing a more supportive and collaborative culture to get things done. And so I'm wondering what you're seeing, what I'm noticing. I'll get off my soapbox in a minute, but as my clients with whom I'm advising and consulting prepare for next year, they're redesigning their KPIs and their teams to have shared team metrics across product marketing, sales, marketing, and their inside sales or business development reps, or SDRs, as some call them, such that it's no longer just how many marketing qualified leads got sent over to sales, and then they wash their hand, and marketing washes their hands of the process. So that's a big leap and change in behavior.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say, luckily at Blackbot, we started that shift several years ago when we moved towards a more RGO centric organization, if you will. So we have this revenue growth officer, and it really encompasses a lot of those key departments that you just talked about. Sure, we still have our world of marketing and success and services, but we all now track to the same KPIs, and a lot of them flow all the way through to pipeline and closed won deals. So to your point about just sending a lead over and saying, I did my job, I've washed my hands, all of our KPIs and metrics across, again, both our SDR division, our marketing division, product marketing, content marketing, success services, right? It's all tied back to that ARR that we're going after this year. Because if you don't have those aligned KPIs across all groups, you're only going to work against each other.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think that, the one way to kind of remove the barriers between marketing and sales, and let's be honest, they're still there. And actually the most successful organizations I've ever been a part of is when myself or a boss had entire responsibility for sales and marketing, because it meant you were truly a growth department as opposed to, top of funnel, bottom of funnel. And I think this whole idea of you can have a marketing strategy, you can hit demand generation and pipeline goals, and then the rest is up to sales, I think is long gone. And one of the things we talked about at Click was that with the sort of the emergence of AI to improve workflows and data and analytics and insights, it gives us the opportunity to relook at the roles we have within our departments and really look at the descriptions and skills that we need for each role. I think for the last probably 10 years, especially in B2B SaaS and often in the sports and hospitality world too, it's always been same titles, same structure. We lost this person, fill the spot with the same type of person. Now we have an opportunity to really think about what is the right person and what skills do they need versus just rehiring the same role again.
Yeah.
And it forces us to think differently. And then it also forces us to look. Another trend that came out of Click as we were writing our songbooks is that we need to have a lens called the too deep dynamic. I thought that was fascinating. It says if you're going to be a great marketing leader, an innovative marketing leader, you need to look at your overall supply chain, your customers, customers, and your suppliers and vendors' suppliers in order to look at where are there some business problems we can solve that we haven't even imagined yet, or create solutions that our customers or our customers' customers didn't even know existed. And I just thought that was so interesting because as we take that one more step, in our AI work groups that I've been hosting for the last year, the common song we've been singing is, how can we solve a business problem using AI? And now I realize that's only part of the question. The other question is, how are our customers using AI to solve problems? And how can we discover opportunities to use safely and ethically an AI solution to solve both of those? And that I think is where some real innovation can happen. And before we jump to your thoughts on that, I also want to tell everybody in the chat, I'd love to hear from you right now. How are you shifting your culture to be more collaborative versus command and control? Like, are you doing that at all? Or are you considering it? And if you are, what are you doing that's working well? That would be fun to learn. So anyway, back to both of you. What is AI? What role is AI playing for 2024 in innovating new products, services, or efficiencies for marketing?
Yeah, so I can jump in on this. For me, AI is the 2023-24 version of what digital was in 2001, 2002. It's, well, we've got to be more digital. And so people would run off and create programs and projects that were embracing digital that were potentially red herrings or were not profitable and were not actually solving real business problems. But it was okay because they jumped on the digital bandwagon. I think AI is now that. Like, we don't want to jump on the AI bandwagon just for jumping on it. We've got to actually solve real problems with AI, and that's something that's truly real. Otherwise, you're just going to go put AI in a PowerPoint deck and think you've nailed your use of AI. I can tell you, to one of my the companies I sit on the board of is a legal tech company. And they train lawyers, and they found that one of the biggest trends in legal is the emergence of AI in case management and e-discovery, and how lawyers ask AI through prompt engineering the right questions has become a transformative challenge within legal. So then you go, okay, bingo, there is a real AI use case that we need to solve for, as opposed to just finding ways to bring AI into our strategic plan.
So they've discovered a functional area where things can be streamlined, scaled, and essentially drive higher profitability per attorney.
Yes, and then you've got to train that world on how to make the most of that. And so the company I work with have defined how they can play in that field. So they might not be the law firm, but they can train the law firm to be and to optimize this prompt engineering challenge.
That's pretty fascinating. Which initial use cases are you building upon for next year, Amy, for Blackbaud?
Yeah, so we had some exciting announcements around AI and our solutions. Actually, the first press release on this went out in June. So maybe some could say we were late. We think we were early. And then we just coming off the heels of our annual user conference, BBCon, that we held in Denver, where we welcomed a large majority of our customers to join us in Denver. And it was really all about product innovation, and AI was really at the heart of a lot of the product updates that we offered. So, quoting a little bit from our press release, we are super excited to announce that, AI is a strategy and a commitment that we have now made across a lot of our products for our social impact organizations. So just a couple of examples. Blackbaud has a peer-to-peer solution for fundraisers. Well, we're now going to be leveraging generative AI to help, the better ability to story tell. So it's easier for organizations to tell their story, and therefore it's more effective for fundraising. We have AI for online giving coming. This will provide personal experience to online donors through predictive AI. AI for major giving. So how cool is it that, you could leverage AI-driven insights into planning who your major giving vehicles will be next year and the likelihood of giving. And the list really goes on and on. So we're super excited to not only innovate it in our products, but then also use a lot of that same innovation in the way that we go to market.
You are on it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you are also, have you standardized within marketing on any AI, generative AI platforms? Or are you still in the test and learn mode?
It's a great question. I will say that we're very much still in the test and learn mode, which is kind of funny if you think about it, right? Because we're already there for our customers, but we're still test and learn mode as marketers. And I think a lot of it just has to do with what Alex said. You got to get really good at some of that prompt writing, right? And make sure that it's always offering the most accurate information. But some of the things that we are testing is around our online chat bot capabilities, right? So think about the days where, of course, some of it is prompted today, but then you go to a live individual. Think of the days where we can get to where it's all done through AI. It can identify exactly what you need as one of our customers, and we can route you very quickly to the appropriate party. So that's some of the things we're still testing internally.
I'm excited about it. I've been playing a lot, not really, I hate the word playing with. I'm using it in my client engagements. I'm not playing with it. So I keep two paid versions. I keep Claude and ChatGPT. And I'm using it in client engagement work now. And I only use the paid version, and I never, ever, ever put any client data or names of clients in the LLM. And so everything becomes very generic. So I'm being super cautious, especially with the current Sam Altman board debacle. I will never put all my bets on one generative AI model. For that reason, it's just still very shaky about who are the final players going to be over the next 3 or 4 years. So I give that word of caution to everybody watching. And Alex, lawyers as well as sports organizations have to build and keep trust. But it's in the world of content right now, it's, speaking of shaky, some organizations are trying to innovate and create AI generated influencers. There are marketing agencies doing this, and sports publications that I used to trust, like Sports Illustrated, was just accused of posting articles written by fictitious AI generated people. So, sports is not immune to this. Legal is not immune to this. What's your advice to people marketing leaders to be innovative without completely destroying the trust of your audience?
Well, I think it comes back to how are you applying AI and what's the product, what's the output from the use of AI. That's why a lot of companies are creating their own custom AI models so that they can generate their own sources into the AI model. And so if the inputs are right and you've defined what the product out of it is great and the outputs are good, then you can feel confident about the product you're putting into market. And then it's all about honesty, transparency, all the things that we know consumers appreciate and expect from us. But it's the how. It's how are you using AI and how are you leveraging it within your organization to create real products, not 24-hour flash in the pan moments of innovation that won't drive revenue. And so it's about application. And I think that if you can get the right inputs and the right data in, whether that's sports data, working with some stadium operations businesses where you can input everything from game performance data, weather data, public transport data. The weather data could be the temperature outside, which helps you understand how much lemonade you're going to sell on the mezzanine level. All of this stuff truly, if the inputs are right, you can derive real business value from it.
You're going back to prompts. Prompts really are important. Go ahead, Amy.
I was going to say that same thing, Alex, is that when we were actually with Lisa this summer at a cohort meetup in DC, Lisa brought in the head of digital marketing from the Cleveland Clinic, who's doing some fascinating things with AI. And there was two things she said to us, in closing, and they stuck with me. And she said the first thing was that prompt writers will be the #1 job in 2024. Companies are going to start hiring for that like crazy. And then two, she said, you've got to treat AI like a new intern. You have to have it, but you have to monitor it. And I think both of those things hit home to what you just said there. As long as you're feeding it the right prompts, it can be extremely beneficial.
Yeah.
What an exciting time to be a marketer. That's all I have to say. And speaking of which, we did something unique talking about Alex, you said the word transparency. One of the things I loved about Click this year was the president of Belmont University, Greg Jones, got in front of a group and was very vulnerable around, here's what our brand of Belmont University used to look like. Here is how society has shifted in the last 2 to 3 years. And here's where we are with our brand right now. How can we make it stronger? And all of you just stepped right in and said, let's come together in our pods and help Greg make his brand at Belmont University even better. How was that experience for both of you?
I loved, firstly, Greg was awesome. What an amazing leader, and the ability to be both vulnerable and open to the ideas of 20 type A marketers was pretty awesome. I think it's all about, for me, it's how do you adapt and adjust, but do it in a relevant way. And I think that's what we're able to do, is provide him with a lot of different ideas. What I love about the Click cohort is it's CMOs from a bunch of different verticals. And I think that gives us a lot of lateral creativity. I was just chatting with someone this morning in the golf industry around how there is no perfect career path anymore that takes you from A to B, and therefore your resume is a perfect fit for a job, right? It's all about what are the skills you've generated through lateral experiences in your career that make you a better leader. And I think the ability for that group to give him all sorts of wild and crazy and amazing ideas that he could then go and implement, but came from such different minds with different career backgrounds. And so it was pretty fun.
And we are going to have him report out which ones he selected to pursue and test. So he's one of my follow-up calls today. So thanks for the reminder. Amy, what was it like for you to be advising the president of a successful university on brand strategy?
Well, first of all, just like both you and Alex said, I just loved his openness and vulnerability. He talked to us about his past struggles where he had been at universities that didn't, handle, a university crisis or scandal at the way that, he would have now at this time, and what he's learned from that and how he's implemented some changes along the way. I also really appreciated that he talked openly about the struggles to, re-implement the brand of Belmont University. And then to sit back and to think about some of the strategies that he could leverage and, take them from our everyday playbook as marketers when we think about our brand and apply it to a university. It was a very different exercise, I think, than most marketers ever go through. So I think it challenged us too. So it was great, I think, for both parties to really think about, his brand in the same way that we would think about ours.
Getting out of our industry is one of the best things we can do every year, if not every quarter, when we bring together the Marketing Growth Leaders peer group. Okay, it's rapid fire time because we had too much fun together today. So 30 seconds or less. We often talk about this in our Marketing Growth Leaders meetings about how important it is, if you want to grow your career and your company, to have a growth mindset. So it's a way to learn a new skill at any age. And it's also what we're going to be talking about at Click 24 in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So tell us in 30 seconds or less, what's one new skill or capability each of you is going to learn next year to be a more innovative and inspired leader?
Amy, you want to go first?
Absolutely. So for me, it's going to be taking AI to the next level. So like I said, we are just scratching the surface of it internally as marketers at Blackbaud. I feel like we're in a great position for our customers, and I want to challenge myself and my team to do more of that within our own organization. So it will be all about testing, and then implementing anything that we can that will help us drive efficiency, productivity, and growth.
Exciting. Any single product you're going to start with? Have you started testing any particular one or one business function where you're really going to drill down?
We haven't yet on the product side, but on the business function side, we are going to start with our SDR department. So you mentioned them earlier, sales development reps and marketing development reps, as we call them at Blackbaud. They are a function of our marketing team. So we're going to test there.
Good. Well, we'll be curious to hear how it unfolds. How about you, Alex?
I think for me, as marketers, and especially as revenue-driven marketers, data has been our ally for a long time. But I think there's a change in how we leverage data, and to steal a word from Amy, the efficiency of how we leverage data. I was always trained as a marketer to create very intuitive KPI-driven dashboards that you could benchmark against historically over time to show that you're moving the needle. I think now with AI and the ability to ingest more data and give us more insights, we've got to stop looking backwards with our data, and we've got to start understanding the trends forwards. And so what's the top 20% of the data we should be looking at to derive 80% of the result?
Yes, Pareto principle was a pervasive topic at Click. What's that 20% of data I need to perform 80% of our functions and our success?
Right. And it seems to be, we've had the similar KPIs now in verticals for so long. What's the open rate? What's the click-through rate? What's the conversion rate? And it's like, well, what are the true metrics that we can use in this modern technology-driven world to derive true success and then leverage that without getting bogged down in too much data? We've gone through kind of big data, extreme information. Now it's about being more efficient with the data that we are watching.
From big data to smart data. Mm-hmm. That's how we'll drop that microphone right now. That's great, Alex. Very wise. Great wisdom from both of you today. And what I love about both of you, you are your great holiday gifts to me, but your gifts that keep on giving to me throughout the year. Your models of the growth mindset, you're willing to help others. And Amy, it's part of the reason you earned the Beacon Award at this year's cohort. And thank you both for carrying, yes, clapping. Thank you both for carrying that torch and making our profession stronger and more inspiring. So thanks for being with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, Lisa.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa, and good to see Amy.
You as well.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Absolutely.
Well, we have come to our conclusion today, and I hope you walked away with some fresh ideas on how you can be a better marketing innovator next year. Tell us in the chat something you learned today that's going to be useful. And remember to follow Amy and follow Alex on LinkedIn. Also, we have a couple of great announcements. Our 8th cohort for the CMOs Leading Innovation Conference is happening on a 2,600-acre Rising Circle Ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in November at the Modern Elder Academy brand new campus in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm going to be co-leading the session. It's going to be a 3-night exclusive stay at MEA. I'll be co-leading that session with the one and only Chip Conley, the co-founder of MEA, New York Times best-selling author, and 3-time head speaker. So if you haven't met Chip Conley yet, you will enjoy getting to know him better in beautiful Santa Fe. Make sure you sign up at themindfulmarketer.com so you'll be notified of this limited time, limited space retreat innovation opportunity. Our theme next year, just so you know, is the midlife innovator. What do you do when your company goes through midlife? And how do you as a leader navigate and dance through midlife as a leader? So with that, make sure you sign up and also plan on coming back to see us on January 5th when Marissa Callie, my wonderful producer, and I welcome you to the new year and the new season of the Mindful Marketer live stream and podcast. So until then, have a healthy and beautiful holiday with those you love.